Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Samurai Brothers. This is episode 77 of the podcast, and Matthew. So, One Piece is on a bit of a break today, and it was last week was just a One Piece mania. So we kind of want to. We only really just went through the chapters, so we kind of want to talk about more about our opinions and theories and stuff going on with that today. But first, we want to cover something that we did a couple weeks ago, and we haven't had the chance to discuss it yet. But the US Sumo Nationals was held in Las Vegas on March 28th, and obviously the both of us competed in that, trying to see how well we could do. And while we didn't medal, we did have some good outings. And well, first we'll cover who ended up. First, we'll talk about who was able to medal in their respective weight classes, and so who will be representing the Team USA at the World Championships in Azerbaijan this year. So let's get right down to it, right, Matthew? All right. So first off, at the 85 kilos, which was the 187 weight class, without a doubt, still probably the best pound for pound. I'd say lightweight in the U.S. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
And that was Edibo Konyeha from Shogeki Sumo Dojo. And so he will be again going out for representing the men's team 85 kilo weight class. And then they had a bit of a surprise. I think, I don't know if this person had competed at the SoCal Open or not, but Matthew Cox from Hanu Sumo.
Didn't
Uh,
compete.
yeah, so kind of a surprise there. He took second in the division, so that was quite an achievement. And then,
Well, especially considering who he had to defeat twice to get second.
yeah, Justin, right?
Yep, Justin Kizart.
Yeah, Justin Kizzard took third in the weight class, and I think it was him who defeated Tim, right? Tim Lindsay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
You
yeah,
mean the
obviously,
third, fourth match?
yeah, the third, fourth match. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so Tim Lindsay took fourth, got almost got his first um,
Medal.
medal at nationals, so that was quite some of him. But yeah, so the rounding out the top three, Edible, Matthew, and Justin, and I think when we were talking to Justin, he said that he's not gonna, he's kind of retiring from the active scene in a way. Like he won't be doing like this particular weight class, but he'll do the masters, is what he was mentioning.
Yeah. Well, he's 42. Um, I
Yeah,
mean,
very true.
for a 42-year-old to get, to place third, I mean,
Yeah. Yep.
and he beat me. Oh, of note is the two people I lost to were the first and third, both of whom are either current or former national champion. So
Yep.
I don't feel so bad. I feel like it is an improvement, but
Yep.
yeah, I would have liked to have medaled, but
Okay. So in
hopefully
the middleweight,
hopefully they create a lower weight class and I can go down there and I can well actually no, it's not a question of hopefully they are going to create a lower weight class. It's just a matter of how low it's going to
yeah.
be.
All right, cool. So in the men's 100 weight class, 100 kilos, we had Joshua Wade of Generation Judo Club taking first. And Matthew, I'm sure you saw a couple of his matches, right?
Yeah, I
Uh,
did. He did a lot of judo.
yeah, a lot of judo moves, definitely. And then we had Gabriel Unick, who signed up last minute uh, to take second, Grand Rapids
Defending
Sumo
national
Club.
champion.
Yeah. And then Joshua Crook from Yamamoto Sumo Club took third, and he took second last year. But yeah, Joshua Wade coming in and kind of shaking things up. And you notice how all these people were at least 6 feet tall.
Yeah, you were the shortest
Yeah,
guy in the weight class.
I think I was. Danny Ramirez took fourth, and then obviously for our placings, we'll be coming back to that. But yeah, this was so the OG Tsupati man, because apparently there's another Tsupati man, another person calling themselves the Tsupati man out there on the US
Uh-huh.
sumo scene.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay, so going into the men's light heavyweight, Connor Kane from Dark Circle Sumo. So we have someone from Texas that will be representing the team. Uh,
And
and
one
then
of
Eric.
Justin's proteges.
Yes, that's correct. Eric Quinn from Raijin, you know, a perennial competitor. Just could not make it.
Champion.
Yeah, yeah, just couldn't make it this time around. So he will be. He took second, and then T.J. Moore of Ohio Sumo Dayton Club. He took third in that weight class. So, and then we go into heavyweight, and Dominus Davis Williams, the defending champion.
And bronze medalist from last year at the World Championships.
Yeah, so big things going for him. He repeats as the heavyweight champion, defeating Hayden Southall in the finals.
Another perennial.
Yeah, and also, so that meant that this finals match in the heavyweight was an all Texas matchup.
Yep.
With Kofi Miller taking third in the heavyweight division. So let me see here. With that being said, then we'll get into then we had the women's 65 kilo weight class. And so the person who won that was Leah Mancias from Hanu Sumo. And
Specifically because like 2 or 3 time champion Madison Gunn did not even compete this year.
yeah, I think I did not see her in there. So yeah, it was Leah who came out on top, and got to hand it to her.
And
You know,
as I recall, Leah had previously won and competed at women's middleweight.
yeah, I
So
think so. Yeah, she
yeah,
did
so she
win
went
one.
down. She went down a weight.
Yeah, so she took gold. Jessica Hopper of Mighty Eagle Sumo took second, and then you have Nancy Campos from Dark Circle Sumo. So another Justin protege taking third in the women's 65 kilo weight class. And then in the 73 kilo weight class was Ashley Smallwood from the Ohana Fighters Collective.
By
But she
default.
is, yeah, by default, because no one else entered the 73 kilo weight class.
We
So
should also
Ashley,
note that even though she represented Ohana Fighters Collective, she's pretty much a Honu girl.
yeah.
She
And
she
then she
she
medaled last year, didn't she?
yeah, she medaled last year.
Yeah. So, you know, Ashley keeping it going and stuff
She
like that.
she's won before, so this isn't unusual territory for her.
Yep. So then 80 kilos. So this ended up being quite a competitive one. We had Caitlin Jones of Shogeki Sumo Dojo. So obviously from Edobo's team. Wink,
Edibo's
wink.
girlfriend.
Yeah. She had to fight a best 2 out of 3 against Kristen Hardiman from Black Dragon Bay. And so that ended up being quite a matchup there. And Caitlin will be representing the US sumo team at 80 kilos. And then, so in the women's heavyweight, the bronze medal went to Sadie Woodall from Dark Circle Sumo. And
Another
then,
another Justin Proje.
yep. And then it pretty much came down to the, gold and the silver the two strongest heavyweight women, probably the two strongest women
We
in.
should note the most consistent because last year's champion, Errol Armstrong, didn't even compete.
Yes, that's true.
And she seems to be this woman who comes in every like few years or so, does
Yeah.
well, and then kind of just disappears into the ether.
Well, Kellyanne Ball takes the gold over Etan Perez. Obviously, so that's another one. The rivalry is all there. As far as these two women are going. So it's pretty something how that is. So with that being said, I'm going to. So they did do some other weight classes. Junior males division. We had Landon Henderson of Switch Fitness winning gold in the 80 kilo weight class. Dallas Reynolds.
I kind of feel a little bad for the for most of the junior lightweights because there were two 17-year-olds and there were a bunch of 13, 14-year-olds.
Mm.
So those younger kids didn't have a chance against essentially these high school seniors or
Yeah.
juniors.
Yeah. So then Dallas Reynolds of Dark Circle Sumo took second, and Mason Stein of Dark Circle Sumo took third. So then, and then they also had
I think there were like bunches of families from Dark Circle that competed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was pretty.
Justin's got a community going there.
Yeah, he does. And then they also had a 100 kilo weight class for junior males division, and it was just one entry, Nasser Ben Musa from Hanu, so he'll be competing there. And then there was
Hanu
a
developing the youth.
A junior female division, 60 kilos, Melody Brodowski. So she was the only entry, so she'll be representing the team also from Honu. And then they also had a masters division. So next year I'll be able to compete in that, hopefully. And so the winner of the masters, and again, the masters divisions in both men and women's, it was open weight.
Maybe in the future we can get weight classes, but not on this occasion.
Yeah. There were 4 competitors for men's. So Caleb Backus of Mighty Eagle Sumo took gold. Justin Kizzert of Dark Circle took second, and Billy Lozano of Dark Circle took third. And then in the women's masters division, Ashley Smallwood took gold. Leah Mancias took second, and Sadie Woodall took third. So, okay. And then our final results before we talk about just how we did before we go into One Piece. So, open weight. For the women, there were 8 competitors. And what ended up happening is the bronze was won by Ashley Smallwood. And then the gold and silver came down once again to the two, Etan and Kellyanne. But it was Etan this time who was triumphant.
Yeah, won the best 2 out of 3.
Yeah, it did go to a best 2 out of 3. So Etan will be representing the women on the open weight side.
We should note that she has represented women in the open weight before. It just was that the USSF rules are that you can only represent the US in one weight class. So even though Kelly's competed and won the open weight before, she had to do one or the other. So she's always chosen heavyweight. As a result, Etan's represented open weight, but Etan actually earned the national championship this time.
Yep. And this will be interesting going forward also because in the open weight division, so the bronze medal was taken by Edabo. And then the
you might want to mention who the 4th place winner was.
Oh yeah, Joshua Wade from Generation Sumo
the
Judo
middleweight
club,
champion.
the middleweight champ. So, yeah, and we'll get to that very quickly here. So the person who defeated Edebo, though, was Daniel Douglas, who was a heavyweight from New York Sumo Club. Now, he didn't even, I don't even
Medal.
think that, yeah, he didn't medal, let alone, I think his, let me check
I
where
don't even
the,
think he was in the con final match.
yeah, so where, okay, so he did place fifth in the heavyweight. So things worked out from better. And one of the key things was, just kind of not being overly ambitious when wrestling Edo. That was for sure.
Yeah.
However, he could not overcome the one and only Dominus Davis Williams again. So Dominus takes both the heavyweight and the open weight gold.
So it's just a question of which
Yeah,
guy
which
is
weight
going to
class is he gonna?
represent the weight class that Dominus does not compete in.
Yeah, but that was interesting though, because if you recall previously, I think when we last competed at the nationals, I don't know that any of the because I know that the person who won heavies.
Edebo did compete at in San Diego in 2024. He competed in the
Yeah,
open weight, but it was another guy.
I know that
Yeah,
the heavyweight did not
yeah
compete.
the heavyweight champion. Yeah he dropped out.
Yeah.
And Eros did the same thing last year when she won heavyweight. She said, I'm done. And the the light heavyweight champion also
Oh yes, he did not compete. But you had three out of the but just think of where they went. It's like basically the three champions they competed in open weight and they all finished within the top four.
right.
Just amazing how that worked out. Just crazy. Tells you the level of what we're dealing with here.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say this now. If when they create the lower weight class, I drop down. If I win, I'm tapping
Yeah.
out. And I'm
Yeah.
just yeah. It's like the guys are just bigger, much bigger than me.
Yeah.
The gap is going to be far larger than any in professional sumo. So it's like it's pointless for me to do it. It's like I'm good. It's like I don't want to get injured. So if I win, I'm gonna be like I'm out. I'm out. There's just It's like I won in my weight class. I'm only gonna compete in my weight class. I have nothing left to prove. There's no point.
Yeah, it was kind of now kind of before we go into our stuff. I was kind of surprised that the people from San Jose didn't compete.
Uh, I think that's what's it? What I forgot who the what's his
Ethan.
name? What?
Wasn't it Ethan?
Yeah, he just was. It's funny because previously he said he wasn't looking to compete on the national level yet, but I guess just competing in general, it's something in him but he said that he just wasn't able to make it this year for whatever reason.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be seeing him in nationals next year. But
Well, and next year we're gonna stay on the West Coast because we're going up to Seattle.
yep, it's going to be in Seattle.
Uh,
Well,
al-
anyway,
Also of note is that New Orleans and New York also put in bids. So
that would have been
2028,
something.
2028, well, we
Yeah,
might be in New
we
York or
might be
New
going. Yeah, we
Orleans.
might be going to New York or Louisiana.
Yeah, because the USSF leadership said that their bids were good. So if they
Yeah.
want to put in another bid, they probably will win.
Well, so anyway, so how did we do? How did we do? So Matthew, uh, so you ended up. So let's go to the brackets really quick. All right. Men's light heavyweight, or sorry, not light heavyweight, lightweight. All right. Matthew, you were matched up with Eddie Menchaca from Sin City Sumo, and you were able to win that match. And then you had Tyler Averbeck from Dark Circle Sumo, so taking on one of the Justin's students, and you were able to win that one also. So that puts you into the semifinals where you got matched up with Edibo. So Matthew, walk us through what you were trying to accomplish with that match.
Well, obviously I was trying to win. Um, and now obviously you saw the Hancock. Basically, my thought was I've never beaten Edibo head on. And I knew that he was gonna be coming straight out of the Tachi to try to body me out again. And my thought was, well, I need to do something different. So that's why I sidestepped. And I definitely think I made the right decision because he's got a good poker face, but his body language said something his face didn't, which was that it's like as I was sidestepping, I saw him coming like a freight train. And then, but the moment that I made my full sidestep and he had that realization of, oh, I can't buddy him out of the dojo this time around. I need to face him. So, it's like so I just saw his momentum just get killed completely. Obviously, he still won.
Yeah, because I mean, you did the sidestep, but then you didn't really have any forward momentum from that. I noticed. So I'm sure that there's some way that you'll be trying to improve on that, obviously.
If I face him again.
Yeah.
Because
So
because they create the lower weight class, I go down. He can't. He actually told me he cut down to go to lightweight. So
yeah, because I thought I had heard some about that. He may go to middleweight at some point. You
well,
never
he's
know.
at that point where he's kind of hitting that growth spurt, and if he gets, it depends on his genetics. But if he gets bigger, it's possible that lightweight might not be realistic.
Yeah. Okay, so we got so then you drop down into the what would be considered the consolation semis, which you matched up against Justin Kizzard. And anything about that? Because I had to go for my matches, so I couldn't see what happened in the end.
Well, we headbutted right out of the Tachi. That was not the reason why I lost, even though I kind of had a minor headache the rest of the day. Um, I mean, I had a similar issue against him that I had against Edibo, which is they did that head snap, and
Yeah. Yep.
I guess that's where I need to work on is to be able to recover from that.
Yep. So, but that still puts you in the top six. So technically fifth place in the nationals. So, you're 2 for 2 in that aspect. It's like you can get into the top six. So now it's just getting into the top three, getting that medal this time.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. But we do, and then so then let's go to my bracket really quick, so that then we can go on to the One Piece discussion. So I got matched up with Danny Ramirez, the Sapati man, and
The first round.
yeah, in the first round, and that one was kind of a weird match though, because like he I think he sidestepped me because I was trying to go forward, and then he just caught me off guard. So that match was over pretty quickly. So then I had to go into the Rapage. I had to go against Christian Ruiz in the first round of Rapage, which I was able to win. And then I had to go against Wade Johnson of Raijin Sumo. and I was able to win that one. Then I had to go against Emmanuel Alvarado of Dark Circle Sumo, which I won again. So I'm like on a hot streak there, 3 wins in a row. Before I had to match up against the Tsupati man, Daniel Ramirez, once again. So kind of my arch enemy, my nemesis, so to speak. Because I think I've gone against him like 6 or 7 times. And I don't have a win against him yet. So I'm gonna figure something out though. Just figure out how to nullify the Tsupati, I think, is the key to that. But still, same as you, I was able to get into the top 6, so 5th place.
It's
First
an
time that I've
improvement
been
for
able to,
you.
yeah, first time I've been able to have a strong showing like that at, one of the major tournaments. So that was really big. Um, so, and then open weight, you and I didn't really get far, but I believe that the highlight of the day, and actually, let me see if I can pull it up because let me see if I can screen share it. Let's see here. Oh, are you able to are you able to undo or enable screen share? Yeah, I was able to pull it up. Want to make sure that is it working? Well, if not, then we'll just talk about it. All right. Well, Matthew will work on trying to figure out how to enable the video. We'll discuss it and then we'll show the video for the next podcast episode. Matthew and I, in just a fate, you know, a strange twist of fate, had to face each other in the open weight consolation bracket. And Matthew, I think our match was probably everyone probably got the loudest in that match for the day, right?
Yeah.
And so what a way to to end our US Sumo Nationals than to have a matchup against each other. So first time in our amateur sumo careers that we have had to do that. It's been a while, long time coming. So finally it happened. And so Matthew, you had a good game plan going into that because you definitely were killing my shoulder, my left arm, trying to just Was that your game plan going into that, or just what were you trying to figure?
That's just how it went because in practice we've won and lost against each other through a variety of methods. So it was just one of those things where I played it by ear, and then we just got in that position, and I was like, okay, well,
Yep, yep. That was good stuff. I was able to get you out at the end there with a bit of a Yori Taoshi.
yeah.
Because I think it was just once I was able to kind of adjust my grip and stuff. That's how it went down. But anyway, so we both had pretty good day. I think Matthew, we've established ourselves now as mid tier. I think wrestlers in the US sumo scene. So we'll have to see how we're gonna do. Because we have the US Sumo Open coming up on May 9th.
Yes, we do.
And that's going to be the last, I'd probably be the last one we do this year, but it's going to be the biggest one. So should be something. All right.
Definitely be the biggest audience because
Yep.
that thing's all if it's not sold out, it's almost sold out, and that place seats a few thousand people. So
It does. All right. Well, with that being said, Matthew, let's
I
get
was
right in.
told I was told that my weight class is going to be rather large this
Large.
year.
Yeah, I actually was at Andrew's practice and he said the same thing. He said there's like 17 entries.
At
That is,
lightweight.
yeah, that is huge.
Has he said anything about your weight class?
He said there's only like six
Oh,
in my weight class. So
so
I
it
may,
might be beneficial for you to stay there, depending on
yeah,
things.
yep, it would. All right. Well, with that being said, let's get right into One Piece because our timer has clicked down. So I think it's just last week we found out that Imu is indeed Saint Nerona Imu, who was the first, one of the first 20 is how they're, establishing him as. So, and
They're also establishing him as the founder of the world government, king of the world.
yeah, king of the world. And I think I was watching a video from Liam that was kind of interesting, which would explain about like Dami Reversi and all that stuff. That maybe Emu isn't just Emu, and that somehow he's got like the souls of the other kings and queens in him, and maybe that's why he's in the silhouette when he's in Pangea Castle. Kind of an interesting theory, but obviously,
I thought the theory
there's
was that he's in some kind of like Pangea is kind of a safety zone where he's due to maybe like mortality reasons, like he might be like he might have the same condition that Roger has. So he's basically dying slowly. I think that was one of the theories.
yeah, because I think just with how everything has been shown so far, Emu is not he's not immortal. Obviously, we see that because he was coughing up blood when he arrived, to Elbaf,
Well,
and then I
even at what's it called? Up in
okay, Marijois,
yeah, up in Marijois, when certain things happens, he still coughs up blood.
yeah.
Like
Well, obviously,
he's seems to be a little bit more protected there for whatever reason, but he's not invincible.
right, and I think leaving. Well, obviously, and I think the other thing is that when I think he's lending his powers or his, either his soul or whatever, he is lending it to, I think, the Gorose and then also to the God Knights.
And also clearly to whoever he Dami reverses.
Yeah. Which kind of makes me think about because when Liam was talking about the soul, the passing the soul and stuff like that, I'm wondering if that meant that, when the giants were killing, their possessed crewmates, that it was a thing about killing the soul, so to speak.
Well, then that kind of asks the question, Chopper was not killing
Mm.
them. He was just smacking them. So
Yeah, which kind of brings me back to the whole thing about the human fruit. And I think that, because obviously Luffy is human fruit model Nika. And I think that has something, so I think it's definitely Chopper's fruit having to do something with that because the properties of the fruit can somehow negate that. I think that's what it's coming down to.
oh yeah, and then we also need to talk about the fact that his power is called the Devil's Fruit.
Yeah,
So it's possible he had the original devil fruit.
right. That's going to be an interesting thing to learn about. Which means, maybe at some point in the very near future, we could be getting a Void Century flashback.
Yeah, I think that's got to happen. We have to know. what all's gonna if not a flashback, then at least a telling of what
Something,
happened.
right. All right.
Okay,
So, with that being
so
said,
yeah, we're gonna talk about the SBS I found out. So, Echiro Oda in the latest volume SBS uh, explained who Kozuki um, Moria is. It is Gecko Moria. So, what
yes,
happened was Gecko Moria basically washed up on that
in Wano.
he was stranded on that particular island, and the locals took him in, and because he was a strong individual, they named him Kozuki Moria because they felt that Kozuki meant strength.
Yeah.
So, and basically what happened was the reason why he fought Kaido wasn't just to challenge him, it was to try to protect his adoptive home of
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yeah.
in Wano.
He did so basically it turned him into this tragic, honorable character who, basically is living in shame because he failed to protect his adoptive home essentially.
Yeah. I heard about that, and that was actually quite something, the revelation behind that, which makes sense. So it probably means that he changed his name, from Kozuki to Gecko in order to kind of hide that identity.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yep.
Well, we need to remember that, like I said, that wasn't his. Kozuki was not his original
Right.
name. That was his given.
Given name. Yeah. All right. Well, with that being said, we're going to be wrapping up here. So next episode, we're going to be hoping to obviously the next chapter, One Piece, will be out, and then we're also going to talk about our Banzuke picks because those are going to be played.
Coming
I
up.
guess the Banzuke is due next week, which means it'll be coming out in 2 weeks.
Yep.
So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you as always for tuning in, and we will be seeing you next time.